Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 3rd of July and we're going to deal with two very important topics which are news. The first is political instability in Nepal. Well, this is not a new thing. Just a few months ago, that is in March, there was another political instability or a political turmoil in Nepal. So in Nepal, there are three major political parties. One is the Nepali Congress, then is Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center, Communist Party of Nepal Unified Marxist Leninist UML. Before March, Nepali Congress and Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center were in coalition in the government. Then this coalition was broken off. Communist Party of Nepal broke off, and Communist Party of Nepal UML came into coalition. Now, Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center is backing out or is being removed, and Nepali Congress and CPN UML will be forming the new coalition. This kind of political instability or political recalculations have been happening in Nepal since 2015 when they have adopted their new constitution. And due to this, the development in Nepal has been a big question. Next is, should education be in the state list? Now, with the recent scams in NEET, or you can say the postponement of various exams like I would say UGC exam or the NEET PG exam, postgraduate exam, all these point out towards the fact that education being in the concurrent list where center has its prerogative as well, is it viable? Because before 1976, education was a subject in the state list. It was in 1976 when it was moved in the concurrent list by the 42nd Amendment Act. So, in this topic, we will see what things can be done over here, and then we'll go to the MCQs and discuss the MCQs in details. Now, talking about the numbers in Nepal, we should understand the situation in Nepal through the numbers. Like, if we see the total members in Nepali parliament is 275, means there are 275 seats in the Nepal parliament, like there are 543 seats in the Indian Lok Sabha. And out of 275, you need 138 seats in parliament to establish majority. Now, see, the major political party is having how many seats over there? Nepali Congress, 88 seats. Nepali Congress, the party which was till now in the opposition, but yes, now it is going to be part of the ruling coalition if the reports are correct. CPN UML, the party to which KP Sharma only belongs or is heading this party, is having 79 seats. Now, Nepali Congress and CPN UML, they both are going to form the government. Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center, Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda, who was the prime minister till now, still the prime minister, but yes, he's expected to lose majority, is having 32 seats only. Rashtriya Swatantra Party 21, Rashtriya Prajatantra Party 14, and there are other small parties having 4, 5, 7, these kind of seats. In the last, I would say, 16 years, Nepal has seen 13 governments. Prachanda won 3 votes of confidence in the parliament during the last 1.5 years. Since 2022, Prachanda is the Prime Minister of Nepal, and since he has become the Prime Minister of Nepal, there have been 3 instances where vote of confidence was there in Nepal, in the Nepal's parliament. Means he had to prove majority. Now, this table clearly highlights the political instability in that country, and this has to be resolved if you know development has to happen in Nepal, because political stability is one such key requirement, a prerequisite for the development of any country. So Nepal has to think on these lines. Such kind of, I would say, make and break games are not going to take Nepal anywhere. So this needs to be taken care of. Now, what was the existing political situation in Nepal? So, Communist Party of Nepal leader Pushpa Kamal Dahal and Communist Party of Nepal leader KP Sharma Oli, they were both in coalition government. They formed the coalition government, and this was formed in March 2024 only. And Nepali Congress was in opposition. The leader of Nepali Congress is Sher Bahadur Deuba. Now what is happening is this Communist Party of Nepal Maoist Center is getting replaced by Nepali Congress, and this party will come over here in opposition. And the leader of Communist Party of Nepal, UML, KP Sharma Oli, is expected to be the new Prime Minister of Nepal. Well, from India's perspective, this news has mixed, I would say, repercussions. This person, KP Sharma Oli, is anti-India. He does not enjoy good relations with India. But Nepali Congress as a party has good relations with India. So if Nepali Congress will be one of the members in the ruling coalition, then that can have a bit of soothing effect towards India. That was the situation from March 2024. What was the situation before March 2024? That is from 2022 till 2024. What was the situation? Communist Party of Nepal, Maoist Center, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, Prachanda, and Nepali Congress were in ruling coalition. They were having the coalition government, and this leader of Communist Party of Nepal, Maoist Center, was the PM. Communist Party of Nepal, KP Sharma, UML, that is Unified Marxist Leninist, led by KP Sharma Oli, was in opposition. Okay. So this was the situation from 2022 till March 2024. What happened in March 2024? This went here and this came here, which we saw in the last slide. So you see Communist Party of Nepal coming here. Since March 2024, this is the situation till now. And this came here. Now what is expected to be? Expected to be is Communist Party of Nepal will be here and this party will be here in the ruling coalition. This is expected to be from now onwards. Yesterday, a lot of things did happen, and these kind of, I would say, issues continue till mid of the night last day or yesterday. Now, political developments in Nepal post 2017. What have been the political developments? So, 2015, Nepal adopted a new constitution, and during the adoption of that constitution, a lot of things did happen, like the Madhesyas, an important community which is having around 20 to 25% of the population of Nepal, lives in the Terai region, which is bordering India. And this Madhesya community shares the Roti Beti Ka Rishta with India. Roti Beti Ka Rishta means marital and economic ties with India. They were underrepresented. Nepal, according to that new constitution, also became a federal country, means federal boundaries were drawn, states were formed or provinces were formed, and this Madhesya community was divided in such a way that they were not able to be in majority in any of the provinces, and that was the major cause of concern for the Madhesyas. That is why they were protesting. And Nepal alleges that India did an economic blockade, means India stopped the supply of essential goods to Nepal. Nepal is dependent upon India for its supply of essential goods like petroleum or cooking gas and all, fertilizer also. Nepal is a landlocked country which is sandwiched between India and China. So let's see what has happened, the political developments in Nepal since 2017. 2015, when the constitution was adopted, 2017, the first government was formed after that. Communist Party of Nepal, formed by the merger of CPN UML and CPN Maoist, came into power. So in 2017, both the Communist Party of Nepal, CPN UML, CPN Maoist, they were in power, and Nepali Congress was in opposition. KP Sharma Oli became the Prime Minister. 2020, protests going on by some factions to establish Nepal as a constitutional monarchy again and a Hindu nation. Nepal was established as a secular country. Discontent is arising from the inefficiency and corruption of the present government. This was the time of COVID, and it was believed by the people that the government was not able to handle the COVID situation diligently during that time. 2021, KP Sharma Oli government was dissolved in May 2021. Sher Bahadur Deuba of Nepali Congress became the PM on 13 July 2021, as ordered by the Supreme Court of Nepal. 2022, CPN Maoist leader Pushpa Kamal Dahal forms a coalition government with the Nepali Congress. 2024, we discussed both the Communist Party of Nepal, UML, and Nepali Congress, Maoist Center, sorry, they formed the coalition, ruling coalition. Now, Nepali Congress and CPN UML are going to form the ruling coalition. This is what the political turmoil has been in Nepal so far. Now, how does this political development impact India. Now, as I told you, that it is highly expected that CPN UML plus Nepali Congress is going to be the ruling coalition. The leader of CPN UML, that is KP Sharma Oli, is going to be the prime minister. And this guy, KP Sharma Oli, does not enjoy goodwill with India. It was the statements issued by Oli in 2015 when that economic blockade was there. He clearly stated that India has purposefully orchestrated this economic blockade. However, the government of India was like, Ki, bhai, we have not purposefully did it. The Madhesyas are there on the border. They are doing the ruckus. How can we send supplies over there? They have blocked the border. We cannot send supplies. This was our government's standpoint. But KP Sharma Oli at that time was quite vocal, and he said that India has instigated these Madhesyas to do these kind of protests. He said that India also has vested interests in Nepal. If Madhesyas will be in power, Indians will be comfortable. So this was the standpoint. He said that during the drafting of the Nepalese constitution, which led to protests and the infamous border blockade, had caused a fair bit of bitterness in South Bloc. Oli, who was prime minister then, portrayed India as the neighborhood bully in his country. So he portrayed this, that these are all being done by India, the protest, the blockade, and all. Now, areas of cooperation between India and Nepal. There are multiple areas of cooperation, and the areas of cooperation are increasing. For example, in the recent past, we started talking about development of hydroelectric power projects in Nepal and buying electricity from Nepal, buying hydropower from Nepal, like we do with Bhutan. So, Nepal is a landlocked country. First of all, we should understand that it has no, I would say, coastlines. It is dependent upon India for its international trade. We have a trade and transit agreement with Nepal. We allow the transit of Nepalese goods to and from our territory free of cost. Apart from it, we have a free trade agreement with Nepal also. Indian foreign policy establishment points out that India is Nepal's largest trade partner. Bilateral trade, more than $7 billion. We have the latest data for 2019-20, but yes, 2023-24, according to certain agencies, it is somewhere between $7 to $7.5 billion only. India provides transit for almost all of Nepal's third country trade. If anything has to enter Nepal and that is coming, let's suppose from Indonesia, that can pass through India. Kolkata port, generally it comes and from there it goes. It is like this. Cooperation during COVID. We definitely helped them during the COVID-19 pandemic. Assistance of more than $7 million was given to Nepal, which included supply of more than 23 tons of medicines and medical equipments, more than 9.5 million doses of vaccines, and a medical oxygen plant. All these assistances were given. Apart from it, vaccines later on were also given to Nepal. There is inherent people to people connect. As we share the roti beti ka rishta, though people to people connect will be there. About 8 million Nepali citizens live and work in India, and some 6 lakh Indians live in Nepal. So if you see in absolute numbers, number of Indians living in Nepal are less, but they are very high according to the proportion of their population. And these 8 million Nepalese in India, they are very less as compared to the proportion of the population of India. Indians are about 30% of foreign tourists in Nepal, one of the largest contributors of tourism in Nepal. The bilateral remittance flow is estimated at $3 billion from Nepal to India and $1 billion from India to Nepal. So those people, those Indians living in Nepal, working over there, they send money to their, family and friends over here. That is $3 billion every year. And Nepalese staying here in India, sending money to Nepal, their families over there is $1 billion. Cooperation in power, water, and infrastructure has been a major element. So we have that policy of Sagarmatha to Sagar. Sagarmatha is Mount Everest. Sagar is Indian Ocean. So from Mount Everest till the Indian Ocean, we need to establish multimodal connectivity under this vision, Sagarmatha to Sagar with Nepal. The China challenge for India. Now Nepal is sandwiched between India and China. So China also keeps on doing certain things. Like for example, we made Nepal part of the Buddhist circuit, and Nepal is the only country, the only foreign country which is part of Buddhist circuit. The Buddhist circuit is ending in Lumbini, the birthplace of Bodh Gaya, Lord Buddha, and it is connected with Bodh Gaya. So the Chinese also launched a multimodal connectivity network. They called it as Trans-Himalayan Multimodal Connectivity Network, and that is also ending in Lumbini. They psychologically want to challenge India over there. And the Nepalese, they also play the China card with India. China, India, you're not doing it. China will do it like this. So, this kind of things definitely happen. China has been pouring aid and investment in infrastructure to wean Kathmandu away from New Delhi. Nepalese imports from China almost tripled. That is rupees 49.5 billion in 2013-14 to 138.75 billion rupees. With Oli, who has clear China leanings, is expected to be the new prime minister. Challenges can grow for India in the times to come. But yes, we have Nepalese Congress or Nepali Congress as the ruling coalition partner, which is having pro India leanings, which definitely can act to a soothing effect. So let's see how things unfold in the times to come. Next topic is, should education be in the state list? Well, education was there in the state list. It was introduced by the Britishers in 1935. Actually, according to the Government of India Act 1935, for the very first time, India was converted into a federal polity. Subjects were divided between union list, state list, provincial list at that time it was called as. And the concurrent list was also there. But at that time, education was inserted in the state list, provincial list. Well, we got independence, and after independence, those lists continued to be the same. Education remained in the state list, but it was in 1976 when, during emergency, Indira Gandhi formed the Swaran Singh Committee to look into the constitution and to make it better. Swaran Singh himself, an MP, recommended multiple reforms in the constitution. One of the most notable reforms was insertion of the fundamental duties. That was also on the recommendations of the Swaran Singh Committee. And one of the other reforms with respect to education was that he transferred education, or he recommended transferring of education from the state list to the concurrent list. And since then, education has been there in the concurrent list. Now, in the wake of these, I would say, irregularities in the NEET examination or cancellation of the UGC NET exam or CSIR NET and NEET PG exams, they have been postponed. These kind of irregularities have been witnessed. So now the question has again arose that education, which is an important public good, is now part of the concurrent list. Should it be made part of the state list as it was there before 1976? That is the thing in question. Now, the background: Government of India Act 1935, during the British rule, created a federal structure for the first time in our polity. The legislative subjects were distributed between the federal legislature, present day union, and province, present day states. Where was education placed? Education was kept under the provincial list at that time. After independence, this continued, and education was part of the state list under the distribution of powers. When was education brought in the concurrent list? During the emergency, Congress party constituted the Swaran Singh Committee to provide recommendations from the amendments to the constitution. And it was this committee which recommended to place education in the concurrent list. And on the basis of those recommendations, education was placed in the concurrent list. Was constitution amendment? Yes, constitution was amended for that. 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which is also referred to as the mini constitution, because a lot of things in the constitution were amended that time. Was there debate around the issue? There was no detailed rationale that was provided for this switch of education from state to the concurrent list. This amendment was ratified by various states without adequate debate, because in most of the states there was the Congress government. So this was that rigid provision of the constitution which had to be ratified by at least 50% of the states. So they did it without debate and discussion. The aftermath of emergency. See, in 1977 there were elections and the Janata Party government was formed. Congress was ousted. Janata Party government passed this 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, which aimed to undo a lot of things which were there in the 42nd Amendment Act. Like, emergency provisions were made quite stringent according to the 42nd Amendment Act. 44th Amendment Act relaxed certain provisions. So it aimed to undo. And there was also one more thing with respect to education, which was picked up by the Janata Party government back then, and that was to bring back education in the state list. This resolution was passed in the Lok Sabha, but not in the Rajya Sabha. In Rajya Sabha, it was not able to pass, and hence it remained in the concurrent list. It is still there in the concurrent list. Certain international practices with respect to education, where education is. In the US, state and local governments set the overall education standards, mandate standardized tests, and supervise colleges and universities. In federal education departments function, there is a federal education department also, but that includes policies for financial aid, focusing on key educational issues and ensuring equal access. That is the job of federal education department, nothing more than that. In Canada, education is completely managed by the provinces. In Germany, the constitution vests legislative powers for education with the landers. Landers is equivalent to states or provinces in Germany. In South Africa, on the other hand, education is governed by two national departments for school and higher education. Everything is there in the center. In the provinces, there are again these two departments, one for lower education, one for higher education. They just implement the directions or directives given by the center in South Africa. So these are some international practices with respect to education. So what should be the way forward? The arguments in favor of education being in the state list, education being in the concurrent list. We should understand that 85% of expenditure on education is done by the states and 15% by the center. If I include, you know, fringe expenditures also, then also the figure comes out to be 76% and 24%. 76% done by the states, 24% done by the center. So it should be there with the states. Argument says this. One size fits all approach is not feasible, neither desirable in a diverse country like India. So let every state have its own education policy, its own education or ways of imparting education. It is like this. Education in the concurrent list, it should remain in the concurrent list. A uniform education policy, improvement in standards and synergy between center and states will be there if it is there in the concurrent list. And corruption and lack of professionalism in states can be witnessed. So this is witnessed in the center also. See the irregularities in the NEET exam and all. But yes, these can increase if it goes with the states. Now, there needs to be a productive discussion whether it should be in the state list or in the concurrent list, or what provisions with respect to education should be there in the concurrent list, what provisions with respect to education should be there in the state list, like it is there in USA. So, for example, regulatory mechanisms for higher education can continue to be governed by the central institutions like National Medical Commission, University Grants Commission, and All India Council for Technical Education and all. And policies for syllabus, testing, and admissions can be given to the states. Like these divisions can happen to make education local, but I would say pan India as well, to give it a national character as well. So these things can be taken up. Now the MCQs. Consider the statements and mark the correct one. Nepal adopted its latest constitution in 2015. There has not been a single party majority government in Nepal since 2022. Which of these statements are correct? You have to answer. Carefully answer these questions. Which of the following statements are true? First statement is India and Nepal broke off diplomatic ties during 2015 episode when Nepal was passing its constitution. This was the episode where economic blockade and all happened. The Malaysia community was at the center of the conflict between India and Nepal in 2015. And third statement is India is Nepal's largest trading partner presently. So, which of these combinations are correct? You have to find that. Next is which of the following were changes happened on the recommendations of Swaran Singh Committee? Shifting of education from union list to concurrent list, introduction of fundamental duties in the constitution. Which among these statements are true? Carefully answer this question. Fourth, which of the following acts before independence created the federal structure for India? Government of India Act 1909, Government of India Act 1919, Government of India Act 1935, or none of the above. The fifth question, in which of the countries education is governed by two national departments for school and higher education, and the provinces have two departments to implement the policies and laws made by the center? USA, Germany, Canada, or South Africa? Very simple question, direct question. Now, the discussion of MCQs of yesterday. First is, for which of the following There are provisions in the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. This has replaced the CRPC. The older CRPC dealt with procedures for arrest, prosecution, and bail, and similar is this also prosecution, bail, procedure for arrest. So, all of the above is the correct answer for this. Next is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The Bharatian BNSS, mandates forensic investigation for offences punishable with 5 years of imprisonment or more. It is not 5 years, it is 7 years. So that is why this statement is wrong. According to BNSS, if the convict has absconded, judgment can be pronounced. Yes, it can be pronounced, and you know this is the correct answer for this. This was clearly, explicitly mentioned over there. Third question is consider the statements and mark the correct one. The Bharatiya Sakshya Bill has no distinction between the primary and the secondary evidence. This statement is wrong. It has distinction. It has maintained that distinction between primary and secondary evidence. Electronic records were classified as secondary evidence under the Indian Evidence Act. Indian Evidence Act is the older act, which has been now replaced by the Bharatiya Sakshya Bill, and there electronic records were considered as secondary evidence. This statement is true. Whereas now in the Bharatiya Sakshya Bill, electronic evidences are considered as primary evidences. So only two is going to be the correct answer of this particular question. Fourth, which agency in India is part of Project Nexus? The most simple question among the five questions. It is Reserve Bank of India. Okay. So I gave this particular statement for confusing you. National Payments Corporation of India, which overlooks the UPI payments in India. But yes, you know, this is not part of this. Reserve Bank of India is part of Project Nexus. And the fifth question: which of the following countries are founding members of Project Nexus? Here, I would want to apologize to you guys because option C, which was 1 and 4 only posted yesterday, actually it was 1, 2, and 4. And that is the correct answer because India, Malaysia, Thailand are part of Project Nexus. Apart from these countries, Philippines and Singapore are also part of this. Indonesia is expected to be part of it. So Indonesia is not part of it. So 1, 2, and 4. And C option was 1 and 4 in yesterday's question. You might have seen it in yesterday's video. It is actually 1, 2, and 4. So this is it from my end today. And with this, I come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, keep watching the videos, keep attempting the questions, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.